We good to get started? There it is. That's what we were waiting for.
Fantastic.
Awesome. It's time. The moment we've been waiting for. Thank you all so much for being here. We are really excited about today's webinar. It's been really fun prepping for this. It's been really great working with the Charge Automation team. So really happy to be here. Let's go ahead and jump in. Just some housekeeping beforehand. You're all on mute, cameras are off. I don't think you guys even have the chance to change that, but if you do, keep it as it is. We'll turn it off if you do for any reason. But there is a section you'll see in the bottom of the screen for Q&A. Throw all your questions in there. We'll have time at the end for questions. No question's a dumb question. I'm sure if you're thinking it, someone else is also. So send them all in there. Um, let's just jump on in. I'm Jess. I'm the partner account manager here at RemoteLock. I will pass the baton to you, Barkley, and then over to Austin and Nick.
There you go. Hey, Jess, how you doing? I'm Barkley with RemoteLock. Work with our integrated partners on the software and hardware side. So glad to be here.
Great. Nick?
Fantastic. Hey guys, really excited to be here. I'm Nick Rennie from Charge Automation, and I head up marketing and partnerships at Charge Automation. This is a huge deal for us, and we're super excited to be working with you guys. So yeah, we're excited to talk all about this.
Beautiful. And I'm Austin Bernhardt, part of the sales team here at Charge Automation, working with Nick real close. And yeah, really excited to be here to talk more about this integration. Very excited.
Great. Awesome. Lots of excitement if you guys can't tell.
Woohoo!
Woo! Yay. So for today's agenda, we are going to start off with just a overview of who is RemoteLock, who is Charge Automation for those who aren't already familiar. Then we're going to have a little conversation. I'm going to act as a moderator, and we're going to have a panel here about RemoteLock Guest Experience powered by Charge Automation. And we'll talk about some details of why guest experience is so important to keep in mind when building your property management tech stack. From there, Austin is going to give us a high-level demonstration of guest experience powered by Charge Automation. That's a tongue twister, and we're just getting started. And then last but not least, we will have some time at the end for questions, and I'll make sure that you all have the right information on, next steps and where to go if you're interested in getting started. So jumping in, RemoteLock and Charge Automation, we've been integrated since mid 2024. Since then, though, we've made our integrated partnership even deeper to offer a more consolidated solution for property managers to manage access to their property while increasing guest experience, increasing revenue, and maintaining efficient operations. All of these things we're going to go over today, but nonetheless, we're very excited to be announcing RemoteLock Guest Experience powered by Charge Automation. So who are we? Thank you, Austin. I see you clapping your hands. I think everybody else off camera probably is too.
I can almost hear the applause, the roaring applause.
Definitely.
The roar.
Yeah. So like I said in the beginning, some of you guys already might know Charge Automation, might already know RemoteLock. Use these next two slides as a refresher if you already do know them. If not, use these next two slides as an introduction, and hopefully you'll learn a lot and reach out and you can learn even more. But who's RemoteLock? Good question. So RemoteLock is an access-centered property operations software for property owners and property managers in the vacation rental, multifamily, and commercial industries. We're a software company that's hardware agnostic. So RemoteLock integrates with hundreds of leading smart lock brands, wired access hardware, as well as leak sensors and thermostats, something new on the newer side. And then we also have seamless integrations to other softwares that you may already use or plan to use. So, like a property management system, guest experience platforms, obviously like a ChargeAutomation, booking software, cleaning, turnover services, etc. All of these different softwares. And these integrations provide you as a property manager or, property owner with the choice and flexibility in how you want to manage access to your property. What software are you using? What hardware are you using? What credential are you going to use on that hardware? We're delivering a property-wide automated access control solution for, I'd go as far as saying really any access point, whether that's a common area, an elevator, a front door of a building, a unit door, a back door, an IT closet. You get the point. I can keep going, but if there is an access point, there is a combination of hardware and software that can be put together to automate access. And then just to round it all out, the best part is this can all be done remotely, saving you as the property manager tons of time and money that would otherwise be spent on site, maybe chasing guests, finding a key, putting it in a lockbox, or, those tedious back and forth calls with the maintenance team, a cleaner. Did you go into the house yet? Did you lock up? We're getting rid of all of that, and we're streamlining operations, reducing the manual tasks, and expediting turnover, ultimately while providing peace of mind. That's RemoteLock in a nutshell. I'm sure there's questions, so throw them in the chat. But let's learn about ChargeAutomation. Nick, would you like to take it away?
Absolutely. So I've got a lot to live up to on that one. But yeah, let's start from the basics. ChargeAutomation, we've been around for around 10 years now, and we are an end-to-end guest experience platform. So what does that mean, essentially? We offer the whole from the point of payment all the way to check-in, all the way to check-out experience. So we basically facilitate and provide automated workflows for you as a host to basically automate that whole process, and also at the same time, generate revenue. It's really important that we note that, because ultimately, whilst you have your guests, you can do that. You can obviously generate revenue through various options. Of course, I think the most important thing we have to mention here right now is that we have seamless integration with RemoteLock. Everything just works together beautifully. And the other thing is you can have as many locks as necessary within your journey. So the front door to the main door, etc., maybe to the pool access or the beach access, whatever it might be. Doesn't matter how many locks there are. With ChargeAutomation, you can integrate all those access points together. The really great thing as well is we're completely multilingual. So it doesn't matter where in the globe you are. We offer that whole multilingual experience, and we're continually improving that as well, and making a lot of updates there. We offer guest ID verification. So not just on verifying the ID, which you can do manually, but we do the whole biometric verification too. So we actually validate if your ID is genuine or not. So some really, really nice features there. Really critically, we offer one-click upsells. And when I say one-click upsells, you can essentially sell all your upsells. Let's say you have a spa package, or maybe you have a champagne package, or as simple as a late checkout or early checkout, you can offer all of that within the process. And to complement that, you need to be able to process payments. So we offer over 160 different payment gateways, and this is globally. And there are hundreds, well, I'd say over 100 different payment methods available for you to use within ChargeAutomation, which makes it as very, very flexible, but also makes us a very global tool, which adds a lot more, let's just say, openness to our markets. We also offer, and this is personally something that I came across. This is how I actually came across ChargeAutomation, deposit collection. So we offer full deposit collections, but we also offer damage waivers as well. So we offer various integrations there. And the great thing about the deposit, unlike many other providers, we offer up to a 30-day retention on that as well. So that helps you as a host to avoid having to recharge your guest over and over, which is really great. We also have a beautiful set of guest books. So if you look through the guest books that we have, you can customize them, but you can also add all the door locks, the Wi-Fi codes, everything within there. And everything is fully dynamic. So you don't have to keep updating everything. It's all built into the system, and everything updates as and when you have a new door lock. Whether you have a new Wi-Fi code, everything is updated within the guest book, which makes it really, really nice to use. And of course, as a host, you need to have those rental agreements and e-signatures, and everything can be done that way. And the final point, which I think is very important, most hosts will have a PMS. So we have over 60 PMS integrations, which gives us huge flexibility with the platform you choose to use. So it doesn't matter if you're using one PMS or another, we more than likely have an integration that fits in. So when you combine the whole PMS, the payment gateway, a remote lock, you piece it all together, you have an entire solution there, which works really, really great. And it means that you can drive revenue, you can actually automate a lot of processes, saving yourself time. It's a great tool. So yeah, very, very excited to be able to really bring this together with Remote Lock.
Great. Yeah. No, thank you. That was a great overview. And just to add on there, I know people who have been using the Charge Automation platform even before we had the integration with them, like for their own personal properties, and they only have really great things to say. So, yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, no doubt. All right, moving forward here, let's chat. Why don't we? So, we just learned about remote lock individually. We just learned about charge automation individually. And we have the guest experience experts and we have the access control experts. I'm gonna ask some questions. This first one is for you, Barkley. So
Yeah.
again, we just learned about us individually. Why would somebody though want to use both of these systems in conjunction? Like, what is the benefit of the integration?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I've had I've had the ability to see this market grow for the last, I think, 11, 12 years. And I mean, technology has just been a huge component to, to how people are running their business on a day-to-day basis. And so we look at these things as, especially with our relationship with Charge Automation, is building out kind of this best in class. So I mean, so bringing or allowing professional property managers to select the right, tech stack that best fits their business needs. And so, bringing these things together and creating a connected environment in order to manage your business is extremely important. So there's a couple of there's a couple of key points there. Obviously, with best in class features and being able to optimize kind of that better performance on a day-to-day basis, and specialized features in the in that with that technology, like with charge automation and specializing in in guest experience. And we all know how important from a from a professional property manager's perspective, guest experience is. We kind of look at these three categories, if you will, and there's probably more, but you've got revenue, and marketing, you've got operations and maintenance, and then you've got, guest experience. Guest experience is extremely, important in the, grand scheme of things in the equation. But by bringing these tech stacks together and being able to utilize best in class, you have, your cost effectiveness, when you're able to look at overpaying for features in an all-in-one package and not being able to fully utilize those things. So you can kind of go back to your flexibility and customization. Jess, you hit on that earlier.
Mhm.
When you talked about remote lock and being flexible and being able to customize to best fit your needs. And so by separating these things, but ultimately bringing them together through integrations, can create those operational efficiencies, can create those kind of the better guest experience and how you work with folks and selecting best in class, but really optimizing your business on a day-to-day basis. And so
Mhm.
that's what we look at and what we feel like is is important. And and bringing those solutions together, creating a connected environment, being able to automate the day-to-day processes, but giving the professional property managers those choices on what is best on how they operate their business. And so, like I said, throughout the years, and and I think correct me if I'm wrong here, Nick and Austin, if you guys have insight into it, but the I think the market value in the vacation industry space as a whole should be hitting $20 billion this year, and growing from from that standpoint. The amount of technology that is being introduced to help people manage their business more efficiently and generate more revenue and deliver a better experience is what those professional managers are looking at, or what our customers and people in the market has kind of mentioned to us. And so, I think enough about about that, but it's all about connecting your tech stack. It's all about using best in class, and being able to use the tools that best fit your business now and as you grow. And so, by doing that, that allows you to make the right selections, throughout the evolution of your, of your, I guess, journey, if you will, as a property manager, and to be able to evolve and keep up with, with the competition, and being able to utilize the tools that best fit your needs.
Love it. Absolutely. I was going to add to that, really. I mean, as a property manager myself, you continually have to look for different methods of actually generating revenue. And if you do it without the appropriate tech stack, you're going to struggle. And so having a very, very leading class, say, set of components like ChargeAutomation and RemoteLock, you can actually automate a lot of your these processes, and you can save yourself a lot of time, whereas otherwise you're chasing guests, you're chasing payments, you're chasing all the different, let's just say, bureaucracy that goes with it. By using the appropriate tech stack, you can avoid all of that, and everything works autonomously, which saves you a huge amount of time and drives a lot of business efficiency, which, again, from my perspective, it's been a game changer for me in many ways.
Love hearing it from a practitioner.
Yeah,
For sure.
tired one. But yeah, absolutely. After summer, it was crazy, but yeah.
No doubt. Great. No, those are really great insights. Yeah, I mean, you guys both really hit the nail on the head about how it's important to build your proper tech stack to be more efficient in your processes. So, property managers, being more efficient in their processes leads to a better guest experience, one would argue. So, we keep hearing that word, guest experience. Obviously, guest experience is great for the guest, but it's also great for the property manager. So, Nick, could you tell us a little bit about, or at least start us off with, why guest experience is so important for the guest, but also for the property manager?
Absolutely. I mean, that's a really good question, actually, because in many ways, I think hosts will look at a piece of software like ChargeAutomation as, okay, it helps me deal with a couple of tasks. But in reality, you're solving a huge number of issues. As you said, let's start with the guests. You want to create the smoothest experience for guests. And again, from personal experience, and I've seen, so essentially I've inherited a business, a property management business. And when I joined, everything was very manually driven. The issue you have with that is you have guests waiting. You have manual processes which are very error prone. That frustrates guests because you've got to keep chasing information. You've got to correct information. You also have the issues whereby you're not always available. So the guest might want to check in at 2 o'clock in the morning because their flights, we've got holiday guests, cheap flights come in at ridiculous hours. You're not awake. You've got to make yourself available, and mistakes happen. You might forget to offer an upsell, or the guest might not even see the upsell, if it's just through a series of emails. So by using a platform like ChargeAutomation, you can offer all of that information. It is all carefully structured, and there is a workflow there that's been optimized, really to give that guest the best experience. And what happens from that? You have a happier guest. You have a guest who understands the contracts. They understand what is currently available. So in many cases, an early check-in, they might want that because they're arriving very early, or a late checkout because they have a late flight. You have also the additional upsells that you might be able to offer, which are available, but usually are only available if they contact you, the host. So you can already see from a guest experience, they have all the facilities that are available to them at their fingertips. And talking about RemoteLock as well, and this is a really key piece. You arrive at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the last thing you want to be doing is chasing guests or fiddling around with a door code, one of these padlock things. We actually had them, by the way, and we removed them because you would have guests on their knees trying to undo the lock. They are so difficult and tedious to use, and then guests lose the keys. You mentioned that as well. And then from the guest perspective, it just, you can see everything tumbles. So I'm not saying that this happens all the time, but certainly if you don't have one of these platforms and you're operating various properties, it creates issues, and you can avoid all of this using ChargeAutomation and RemoteLock together. From a host perspective, well, it's a complete reversal. You have all those tools available. You can offer all the upsells that you want to have. You can streamline processes, and you're not making mistakes. And believe me, mistakes are very easy to make. And I'm going to come back to keys again because, Jess is desperately getting me to get my smart locks fitted. We just have a number of, we're working on that. And I can actually tell you, I looked into this just before I came onto the call. We lost 15 sets of keys, 15 sets throughout the summer. And that
Wow.
means getting those keys cut again. That means guests being really unhappy. You've got to charge the guest for the keys. We charge €50 for a set of keys because we've got to change the lock. Because if you lose one, you've got to change the barrel. We have to do a
Yeah.
switch around it. And that's a lot of work. So our maintenance guy has to go out, change the barrel. We have to provide the guest keys. So you can already see straight away there, mistakes happen. And it's unavoidable. And in many cases, and in some of those, well, I wouldn't say many, in some of the cases, it was because the kids had shoved the keys down the back of the sofa and they'd
Mm.
lost them. So of course the guest then finds the key and says, "Hey, I found the key. Can you refund my €50?" Well, no, we can't do that because of course, we've had to invest time to change the lock, etc., cut a new key. What do you end up with? An unhappy guest. So, and then you've got to somehow manage that. So by having this automated process built, within your properties, you're going to avoid all of that. And it doesn't just come back to this as well. If we look at the upsells, this is the upsell element allows you to generate more revenue during that stay. And guests are looking to spend. They want to enjoy their holiday. They want to have a great time. But because we have that seamless integration with the PMS, we push all that accounting data back to the PMS platform. And that means you don't have to worry about all that manual accounting work that you would normally have to do. So everything is fully automated. I mean, there are just so many different points. We could talk about this for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
The key point I'm trying to kind of really push here is the fact that you have that automated workflow. And there might appear like, well, there is a cost for me to use this. But, at the end of the day, we start from a free plan. And as you scale up, there are various options that are available to you. So, there is absolutely nothing to lose to automate that entire workflow for yourself as a property manager. And when you integrate, and if you already have a remote lock, smart lock, you completely automate that entire process. It just kind of simplifies everything for you. And it saves you time. And I can say from personal experience, it does save you time. The initial investment is obviously a little bit time consuming, getting everything set up. But once it's done, you're ready to go. And it's not a case of sitting back, but it means less errors. And it allows you to focus on areas that really matter, such as marketing, such as actually genuine guest relations, where you actually meet the guests, when you talk to them, where you help them, etc. And that helps elevate your guest stay in the sense of they will provide you better reviews, you have a happier guest. All around, it's a win-win.
Boom. You heard it
Cool.
there first. That was such a well-rounded answer. Thank you. I mean, you really hit on it all. But also one thing I will mention, you say it's not a matter of sitting back, but with all of these things in place, you as a property manager can sit back. You can put
You
your
can
feet
never
up.
sit back. You can never sit back as a property manager.
All
Never.
right.
Yeah.
But if you ever wanted to, you could. And everything is working smoothly in the back end, but maybe
Yeah.
not. Anyway, you're picking up what I'm putting down. Well, as Nick mentioned, he mentioned the word upsells. Let's honestly dig into that a little bit more. Austin, I'm going to call upon you for this one.
Yeah.
Austin, can you just talk to us a little bit about upsells and why they matter?
Yeah, of course. And I feel like, yeah, this is the big topic. I feel like it's on all these property managers' minds. It's like, okay, these upsells, I need to kind of get a handle on them and start making more money because everyone's costs keep increasing. Got to pay for your tech stack. There needs to be a way to make sure that you're automating your upsells and making it easy to, just generate additional revenue. So when we're talking about the guest experience and kind of playing off of what both Barkley and Nick mentioned, is making sure that I'm assuming that most property managers are doing some sort of upsells. Either they're giving them away for free just because they want to try and get a better review, or they feel like, oh yeah, I'll just offer them manually and have to kind of do that process. And the whole reason we like to put this inside of a guest experience flow is to make this a simple and easy journey for your guests. Making sure that your guests are they don't have to plug in a credit card when they're purchasing these upsells. This is a huge piece because when you have these guest experience models and say, okay, I want to do an early check-in. Oh, great. Now I have to plug in my credit card details. What? And then they kind of start realizing, wait, where am I? Like, where is this flow? How is this actually integrated with my experience? And they start to question things. So when charge automation works, we already have the credit card pulled in to the flow, which means, and we've seen this with our data, a 22% increase in upsell revenue just because of the fact that the credit card is already inside of the platform. Um, the real, I like to think of this as like the two main reasons this happens is one, it's super convenient. The guest goes, holy crap, don't have to plug in my credit card. This is awesome. I use click, 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 very Amazon-like experience. But the second one is trust. The guest knows the only place I put this credit card in was the direct booking website, was booking.com or Verbo, and now my credit card's here. Obviously, the only way for them to get that is if this is a legit experience. So they are automatically feeling a lot more comfortable with the flow. So you're going to get less resistance and more conversion because of that. So I think that's a really big point. And then um, if most property managers are using Stripe, and the really cool thing that we're able to do with Stripe is normally you just have credit card payment options. And that's kind of what other guest experience models are going to provide you as an option for your guests. Hey, you can just do credit card. But with Charge Automation, you can offer a lot more options like Klarna, all these like payment financing options, and then of course Google Pay, Apple Pay, the big ones that are used in um, your respective areas. These are accessible to your guest, and you see another 7% increase in conversion because of that. So on top of the 22% of already having the credit card in there or having those options, we see around that like 30% increase in upsell revenue, which converts into around $180 worth of revenue, additional revenue on a per unit per month basis. And that's what our actual customers are seeing. So this is pretty much money that's being left on the table. And I think some of the biggest um, pushbacks I hear from customers when they're thinking about implementing upsells, either they've never done upsells in the first place or they've been kind of giving them away for free. They feel like they're nickel and diming their guests, saying like, oh, I just want to give them a free check-in just because it makes me feel better. It's like all of these upsells that you're talking about, that you're thinking about doing. I know, Nick, you do a ton of food items. There's a lot of different ways you can plug in different upsells to help delight your guests, to help increase the guest experience. Sure, they're paying for it, but they're happy to make those payments because it's elevating their experience. And yeah, I could
Yeah,
keep going more on it, but yeah, Nick, if you want to add a little bit about your experience with as a property manager, I think that's fairly well. Yeah, it gives a great perspective.
we talk about it a lot, don't we? And it's funny that because I introduced food items this year. We often have people calling us and say, "Oh, can you help with? Can you provide something, whatever it might be?" And we introduced a whole series of food items. Now, the very important thing I think, and Austin and I we've spoken about it in previous live sessions, is that you need to kind of narrow down and just have a select choice. You shouldn't go overboard. I made that mistake. But the key thing is, if you find the right items for your let's say your audience, and in our case, I offer basic apartments and for basic people that come on holiday, and what they want is a food pack that's available to them. That when they arrive, they don't have to hunt around for food. They wake up in the morning and they got a breakfast pack there with all the essential food items. So we put that as an upsell, and it's our best performing upsell. We probably sell it genuinely. We actually sell it probably about for every other customer. But the other ones we included, I started adding things like e-bikes. I've added things like tours. We've integrated with various other platforms. So, and you can do that with ChargeAutomation, by the way. We actually integrate with various big platforms. And you can include those items within the upsells, so external platforms. But you can also add like a taxi service, and of course there's the typical early check-in and late checkout, and they're also very popular. They're not as popular as I would like them to be, but yeah. But then it depends on your audience. So yeah, as Austin said, you just find your niche, your audience type, and it's shocking how much extra revenue you generate through that. So yeah, it works great for us.
Nick and Austin, just out of curiosity, What's
Yeah,
what's kind of the biggest or what is the biggest maybe upsell, item that you guys see? Like is there something that stands out?
that's a good question because, like, for Nick, 100% it's his food items, and this I wanted to
It
highlight this
is.
piece is that it really does depend on your region, on your demographic that you're working with. Across the board, it's early check-in, late check-in. Those
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
the easiest, to apply, easiest to execute on, easiest way to bump your revenue up, just like that. When you're talking about food items and experiences, third-party organizations, this does take some planning and building on each property management's side to figure out, what do they want to offer that makes
Mhm.
sense. I was just talking to a South African client, and they're saying, we used to do upsells manually, and we used to have the Safari experience for our customers, but it would just became a nightmare trying to deal with the money and trying to collect the money before. So they just scrapped it all. So now they're going to start working with us and actually automate that flow. So now they're going to be able to turn back
Right.
a great, deal of revenue based
Yeah.
off of something that's very unique to their experience, to their spot.
And, and I tell you, a really great one actually is our airport taxi service. That's actually one of our biggest commission models that we have. And prior to actually automating it, it was a nightmare because guests would say, "Hey, can you order the taxi?" And then you're chasing them for payment because you have to get that payment up front to pay the taxi driver, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just an absolute nightmare. So this, I mean, we'd end up doing it. So, and we'd basically say to them, just pay the taxi driver direct. And then we have to trust the taxi company to pay commissions. We have no way of tracking that at all. And sometimes we get them, but of course, you get some taxi drivers who don't go along with it, and you'd lose your commission, or they get the wrong taxi. So, by having the workflow in place, by having the payment already in place, it means you can confirm that booking and you can offer it to the guest straight away and say, "Yep, we've booked your taxi. Everything is paid for. Everything is done." And it means you've got a confirmed sale and you've got a confirmed commission, which is the most important part.
It's awesome.
Awesome indeed. Yeah. I mean, the options sound it sounds like there's so many different routes you could take in for creating these upsell opportunities. So, as Austin said, don't leave money on the table. And find your niche, find your upsell niche with your
Absolutely.
customer base. Maybe it'll be food like Nick, maybe it'll be a safari. You never know. All right,
Amazing.
moving forward here. So once the guest is verified, just slightly going backwards a little bit in the process here. So once the guest is verified, they're ready to gain access. Remote lock, we sit on the back end. We generate that access code, that time-bound access code based on the parameters of the reservation or just, the need for access. So, Barkley, could you talk to us a little bit about why is it so important to automate the access to the property, again, for both the guest and the property manager?
Yeah, I think it's, we've kind of touched on this, and
Yeah.
Nick, thank you very much. I
Yeah.
think you did an eloquent job, like, at the beginning, and just the value of, being able to automate those, those things, and, and true experiences that you have, and we've heard those stories, time and time again. And so when you think about that, that automation, once again, we talk about how to, how to connect your tech stack, how to create those operational efficiencies, how to deliver a better experience. But as as we focus on the access side of those things, it's, it is a lot about, how do I turn over my unit
Mhm.
faster, more, more efficiently? How do I, how do I deliver a consistency to my, to my guests based on, based on how they're accessing, the property, or the various doors that they, that they may have interaction, interaction to. And then one of the big things here, and some of the stuff that we've looked at on our side is really that, it's a lot about mitigating risk. And so, so how can I securely move people in and out of my, my property, and, have that process, automated? How do I have that, that piece of, that peace of mind? And just even thinking about your story, Nick, around, the keys that you lost during your, your busy
Yeah.
season. And, and the process that you have to put in place to either, replace keys, replace, cores, someone who's locked. So it's it's a very expensive, it's a very expensive process. And, and when you think about the cost associated to implementing, an electronic access control platform, based on the price that or the cost that it is to replace cores, replace keys, potentially be concerned about who has the keys, and and who's interacting with my property. And so, going back and and hitting your question, Jess, is that there's a variety of importance around automating access control. In it, we know about the we know about the experience. We want to deliver a good, repeatable experience to our guests, because the more the better experience that our guest has, which starts before they enter that door, then then we know that this could be a repeat opportunity for for the property, professional property managers, increasing those occupancy rates and turnovers and things like that. But it's this, this process of how do I securely move people in and out of my property and feel like that, that I've got kind of a view of what's going on, kind of sitting from afar or sitting behind my desk. So, so it includes like the audit logs. It includes being able to track history on, on people that are, moving in and out of your property, but also that seamless experience, and being able to control access more in an automated fashion, and really in delivering that that peace of mind. So it's that security.
Yeah.
But like I said, Nick, you did a great job just even
Yeah.
articulating a lot of those values just from the from the beginning. And I'm just echoing what
Yeah.
you said, and some of those sentiments around around being able to include or incorporate those things into your business.
I actually want to add one more thing, because you mentioned about auditing, and this is always a challenge. We have a team of cleaners, we have a maintenance guy, and one of the things that I've discussed, actually, I believe I mentioned to Jess when we were talking about it, is you can, using a system like RemoteLock, you can ensure that cleaners do enter a room. They are doing, for example, midweek cleans. We offer a midweek clean. And we've had it where a cleaner has just, they've forgotten, they've got a lot on their plates and they've not done it. So we can you can actually track all of this. You can audit that. You can make sure that, you send the maintenance guy up. We have the world's best maintenance guy, I'm not going to lie. So he would never fail on us, but you just don't know. If you've got a lot of properties, if you send somebody up, you can check that they've been there. You don't have to chase that person. You can say, oh, such and such has been in the room. And also, like you said, when you need to go into a room, you have full control over who is entering and leaving from your staff. So it avoids any issues, especially in the summertime when you're recruiting part-time employees. You need to make sure that you know who's entering different apartments, etc. And having that as a property manager is absolutely crucial, because I can't keep track of it all the time, and I've got to give skeleton keys to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So it means they can enter any room, but being able to keep an eye on that is absolutely key.
Yeah, you guys really, you all hit the nail on the head there. Something you guys both mentioned is, knowing who's going to your property and when they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So just having that peace of mind. Really quickly, just for the sake of time, because I do want to make sure that we get to a demo. Austin, can you just talk to us about peace of mind and, making sure that the person who is receiving the code is who they really say they are? A little bit about biometric guest verification.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's, perfect kind of segue here because, Barkley, you mentioned risk mitigation. All of these property managers, all we're looking to do is mitigate risk. We're doing that by adding these technologies, putting these steps into place to make sure that we're mitigating the risk. That's why a lot of early property managers stay on Airbnb, because they feel the safest there, and then they slowly start to expand into other OTAs, and there's more risk there. So this is why you have these type of technologies in place to make sure that you're reducing that risk. And when it comes to ID verification, understanding who you're letting into your property, this is just another step. Making sure that you have a real valid ID on file that has had the information pulled off of it to verify, does the name on the ID match the person that booked the stay? Making sure that we use a biometric scanner to make sure, does the person in the ID match the person in the selfie? And then automatically sending all that information into the property management system that you're connected to. So then your team at a glance can see that everything has been done in order and has been done correctly. And the big thing, instead of always checking all 100% of your reservations, you're now only focused on that small percentage that did fail for some reason. Now you're honing in on the ones that are going to possibly cause you some issues. So these are the ways that we help property managers focus their efforts and time into those riskier bookings and know give that peace of mind, that clarity that the rest of the reservations are moving as intended. So we can go a little bit more into it, but maybe that's for another live session with remote.
Yes, definitely.
We
We'll
definitely
keep
have
you
to do
guys
that.
on your toes. Or reach out and chat with one of us
Yes,
directly to
or
learn
if you have more
more.
questions about ID verification, that's my specific background in the industry, so I'd be happy to chat more about it.
Amazing. Or throw them in the chat if you
Yes,
guys
or throw
have
them in the chat.
questions.
Ask
How
now.
about
It's
that?
great. We have
Options
a
are endless.
Q&A specifically for this reason.
There we go. Great. Well, thank you. That was really a very insightful conversation from all of you. Thank you for answering my questions. Um, let's see it. Let's see it happen, shall we? So before
Yes.
I stop sharing my screen and hand it over to Austin, let's just take a look at this. It's a diagram, if you will, or a breakdown of the guest journey. As you see it's not just before their stay, it's before their arrival, during their stay, after departure. Everything is thought about, and everything is very intentional. So let's see it happen. Austin, take it away.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen here
Great.
like this.
Just like that.
Perfect. Okay, looks great. So, what I'm sharing on my screen here is the um, charge automation dashboard. Now, this is going to be a specific remote lock one to make sure that we're kind of highlighting the really important parts. So, that first little slide there, the before, during, and after the stay, this is kind of what property managers can do to kind of prep for their guests that are coming to stay. So, of course, they'll be able to take a look at overall just a high overview of who's coming to check in today, how many upsells you've had, those things. If we jump over to bookings, we can take a look at each individual booking that's coming in, and they're ordered by the most recent ones, which is really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and actually connect a smart lock from RemoteLock, which is pretty much the reason we're here, just to show you how quick and easy it is. So we move to the integrations into the smart locks, and we'll see our remote lock. We click remote lock, we're going to click an apartment or a property that we want to connect, and we're going to click connect to remote lock. So here it would ask you to log in to your remote lock account. I've already logged in, so that's why it says choose my account, ChargeAutomation. Going to authorize that there. And perfect. So it looks like we want to map our rentals to the lock IDs. So for this rental, we're going to pick whichever locks that are set up in remote lock. So we'll pick those two. And right now it says active, but once we click save, it would, oh yeah, so now it's going to ask us, do we want to generate those codes for new and existing bookings or just new bookings? For the sake of because I've already made these bookings, I'm going to do new and existing, but most guests are kind of clicking new bookings only. And boom, we're verified. So that looks great. So next, what I want to do, I'll have to wait for that little guy to go away. Perfect. I'm going to go over to the guidebook side of things. And I'm going to show you how we would actually take the dynamic link that we've created and stick in the door lock code to make sure that it's all working. So I've created a guidebook here. So these little guidebooks on my right here, this little preview, you can kind of take a look and see what's going to look like. So door lock is all the way onto the right. We can move that around if you'd like. But pretty much we want to create the door lock code. We can edit the guide, give it a title. So this is the title that the guest is going to see. Your internal name, of course, you'll know that this is the remote lock code. And we're going to use this dynamic field called booking access code. So it's here, you can put any other things you need in here. That's all pulled from the PMS. And we can plug in the door lock code. Of course, you can also write a little like, hey, here is your code. And then also maybe add in a little video of how to plug in your code. You can do that all in here, making it really clean, easy, and accessible for your guests. So we'll save that. Boom. And that's pretty much as easy as it needs to be. So then, of course, you can set up and attach this guide to all of your properties, and it's going to pull the specific door lock code for each property. So that makes it really easy as well. And of course, yeah, we can pin it right to the top. The other cool thing I wanted to mention is when do we want this information visible? We talked a little bit about that earlier in the call today. We want to make sure that this door lock code is only shown when you want it to be shown. So maybe you want to make sure that they've completed the online check-in, which means they've been verified. They've signed the rental agreement. Maybe you want to make sure that security deposit has been authorized. The reservation obviously has been paid in full. You don't want to get them in when they haven't paid yet. And even if you'd like, you can set up to make sure that there's the door lock code is only released either at check-in or let's call it, 4 hours before check-in. Maybe that's too much, but you get my drift. And then making sure that the submitted IDs are approved. So once all of these steps are taken, then the ID or the door lock code will be visible to your guest. Awesome. So now that's kind of everything I wanted to show, at least for today, on the dashboard. There's tons more we can do in here, a lot more customization that we've built, but we can be here all day and night going through it just because there is so much in there. But this is what we want to do, is kind of help focus on the big things you want to do, and we can continuously expand and grow what you're using at ChargeAutomation. So I'm going to jump over here to the guest experience, and I'm going to kind of walk through this quickly just because, once again, there's lots of stuff going on here. Just get the idea. Your guest is booking a stay. They get, and all the information is flowing into your property management system. That's where we integrate with, and then we become the first point of contact. Everything's going to be branded your company, making it really easy for your guests to feel, safe and comfortable. They're going to be clicking a link to take them to a web-based browser. All their information that we pulled from the PMS is going to pop up here. We want to make sure your guest is feeling, safe, comfortable. They go, oh yeah, this is me. This is my reservation. They didn't have to plug in a booking ID, a last name, anything like that. And we can get started. We can populate all this information, gather emails and phone numbers for marketing lists if you'd like. We can also collect information about the arrival times, any custom questions you need. Payments, of course, we can do payments. ChargeAutomation is in the name. We can really help automate these, set this up, schedule security deposits, and of course, the credit card information is already going to be pulled in from your from the guest's actual booking itself. So this makes it really easy for them. And then ID verification, we would upload a photo here, and they'd have to take a live photo as well. They submit that. When we're talking about the ID verification. If the guest is plugging in a selfie that's not of them, picture of a cat or something like that, we're going to recognize that and make the guest plug in a picture of themselves to make sure that the biometric scanner actually does its job and verifies. It's not, stuck with bad data. And then once we've submitted that, this is all that verification is happening on the back end. So your guest is none the wiser. And then we can do those add-ons, those upsells, making sure that they're front and center, nice and clean and easy to add, request, and set up any way you'd like.
Hey, Austin, quick question. Sorry.
Of course.
Yeah, just a quick question because I think it may relate to one of the questions that came in. So if somebody were to select the early check-in as a
Yeah.
as an example, would would that would and it's approved, so they're able to
Okay.
early check-in. Would that update maybe the reservation side that you guys see, like, or or the customer sees? Does it update the kind of the start time, if you will, or the initial time?
Of course. Yeah. So how it
Okay,
works is we can set up the early check-in. If you don't want it to be on request only, we can set it up to take a look at the calendar and only offer an early check-in based off of the spacing before the stay. If there
yep,
is X amount of hours that the property manager feels comfortable with, then we can offer it and then automatically purchase it. When it comes to actually then executing on that early check-in, maybe it's talking to the cleaning staff, making sure that they're aware of it, and then playing around with any other piece of it. Yeah, that has to kind of happen still, but the actual payment side of things is all done. Only thing that the customer, the property management company has to do is then execute on that early check-in.
got it. And
Yeah.
and if they don't want to charge for that, then then a customer wouldn't have to charge for that if they didn't want to, right?
Yeah.
They
If
could,
yeah, if
yeah.
you
So
really want it,
basically,
yeah.
yep, yeah. No, that's great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. And
You
then
read my mind there, Barkley. I was about to jump in exactly the same question on that slide.
and just because we're in the realm of talking about door lock codes and everything like that, the access code check-in time will also be
Mhm.
automated and updated as well.
Great.
Great.
I
Thank
just
you.
want to add that's a really powerful feature as well on that side, being able to look at the calendar. Because again, in many cases, early check-ins aren't always available. So we would actually only ever offer that feature or that upsell to the guest. So they wouldn't even see it if it's unavailable.
Yeah.
So again, you're not disappointing a guest. You're not suggesting, hey, have an early check-in. Oh, by the way, we can't give it to you. And that happens on many other platforms that we offer the upsell, and then the host has to then reject it. And that leads us to a negative experience. So we avoid that by only showing what we can offer. And that's really, really a very cool feature of Charge Automation.
Yeah,
No,
100%.
that's that. Thank you for that. That's fantastic because
Mhm.
it is all about guest experience. And if if you can't stub your toe right out of the gate, if you're not able to deliver, the better experience. So I think
Exactly.
that's great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, fantastic. And then, yeah, the last point I also want to touch on is a little summary with a rental agreement, making sure that your guests are signing a rental agreement that's actually specific to them and their stay, using dynamic variables to pull in that information, digitally signing it with an IP address collection as well, and then submitting it. So that's the pre-check-in. And then automatically they're going to be pushed into the virtual guidebook. So really cool piece, the one link, one journey. Every time your guests are then jumping back into this, they're going to be brought here to the virtual guidebook. And this is where the remote lock door lock code will be once they're ready. So this one saying this will only be available within 2 hours before check-in. Once that 2 hours were in that time frame, then the door lock code would be available. And then yeah,
Awesome.
and then yes, yeah. Of course, there's lots more in here, like upsells, specific upsells for during their stay. It's the
Yeah.
experiences, it's the food items, this is the safari that are
Mhm.
plugged in here. Um, Also instructions about, how to use the facilities, right? How to use the dishwasher, washing machine, how to turn on the pool heater. Anything that's unique to that property, you can set up and put in here. Put in videos, pictures, text, whatever you need.
And talking about saving time as well, I think again, restaurant guides, etc. It's one of the biggest requests we get. Which is a good restaurant to go to? And we actually cater for different diets. My wife is a celiac, so we actually have a celiac guide that we offer,
Mhm.
and that's really great. So it basically means that if you go there, you know where to go for gluten-free food. If you want to go for a big, I don't know, like a steakhouse, we can recommend specific ones. But what's also nice is that if you have an agreement with a local business, and we always talk to local businesses and see if we can get something there, and I recommend you do that as a host. You speak to them and say, "Hey, mentioned code. I don't know what it might be, Villatel," and they'll give you a whatever discount, and you get a kickback on it. So again, you know, as a property manager, part of the work that you, part of the work that I believe you should be doing is working with local businesses to drive, engagement with those restaurants, with those shops, with those breakfast bars, all these areas. And you can add that straight into your guidebook, add that as an upsell. There's so many ways you can kind of leverage that.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Really great. Thank
Yeah.
you so
So yeah,
much.
that's everything that I wanted to kind of cover. I know probably for timing we want to be careful.
No, yeah, I mean, no, I know we could all, I feel like, keep talking about so much more about both the integration as a whole. But yeah, I want to make sure that we get to the questions in the chat, and I want to make sure that everybody here knows what to do next if they're ready to get started. But if that demonstration didn't show how easy it is, then I don't know what will. How about that? So, no, thank you for that also, though. That was great. Okay, so to recap, I think everybody kind of understands the gist here. We're two, access control platform, guest experience software, and together we're creating a seamless journey for the guest and giving you time back as a property manager. So questions we're going to get to, but next steps that I know you're all wondering about. So, as Nick mentioned, you can sign up for free. So, at this link, remotelock.com/guest experience, please follow that link. We are going to send out a follow-up email where you can actually click this, but if you wanted to type that in or go to our website and navigate to vacation rental and then scroll down and check out the guest experience section. Nonetheless, on that page in the top, there's going to be a button that says sign up. You can sign up directly there for free for Remote Lock Guest Experience powered by ChargeAutomation. Somebody from ChargeAutomation is going to reach out to you directly to work with you to, onboard you, answer your questions, make sure that you're on the right plan. So definitely follow that. And then another exciting announcement is both of us, or Remote Lock and ChargeAutomation, we're going to be at VRMA International. So if you guys are there, please come by and see us. Booth 303 and booth 408. Yeah, come say hey. But all right, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. All I was going to say, Jess. I think
Okay.
many people see charge automation and they look at it and they think, "Oh my gosh, that's really, really, it's pretty heavy." We will handhold you through the whole process. So, if you feel like this might be a bit much, we can handhold you. It can be as complex or as simple as you want it to be, and we'll
Yeah.
handhold you through the entire process there. So, if you're ever worried, just reach out. We can help out.
Yeah, no, thanks for adding that. Honestly, from the remote lock side too, just all of us, we're here to help you. You guys heard from the experts. Today I was not an expert, I was a moderator, but I'm an expert some of the days. Reach out and don't feel overwhelmed by all of this. We're here to help you and put together a solution that's going to work for you and your property rather than making you change your entire property to work with the solution. Yeah. So we are at time. Let's just see. There was a question in the chat about what is the setup process like? If in 30 seconds, honestly, maybe let's not answer that one right now. Please reach out and someone's going to reach out to you to help you finish setting up.
Yeah. How about two words? Fast, easy.
There we
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
Thank you for that question though in the chat. And then some other questions, we will reach out to you if you asked a question. But nonetheless, we really appreciate everyone's time. Charge Automation, as I said in the beginning, it has been really genuinely so great working with you guys. And I'm excited to continue working together. Barkley, great working with you every day. But yeah, thank you all for joining and thanks for learning about RemoteLock and Charge Automation.
Awesome. Thanks so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, take
Barkley.
care.
Thank you so much, guys. We're really
Bye,
excited.
everyone.
Take care. Cheers.